Browns draft talk with our third amigo. He is in the house. WTAM Browns beat reporter, of course, our third amigo. Andre Knott joins us. Dre, you and I both had a chance to be out in Berea for the press conference this weekend. I think the cool thing about this, and you'll agree with me, you have to listen between the lines when Tom Heckert, and there you could pick up a lot of things when you sit back afterwards and go, yeah, he really said that. But I want to get your thoughts. Number 4 pick, from all the things that Heckert said and didn't say, do you get the feeling that because he thinks they're going to get one of their top 2 guys, they're holding on to that pick and they're not going to do anything with it?
I think you look at it perfectly, and I think when you go back to the conversation that we did have with Tom Heckert, you can see where there's lines where he's trying to not let us know completely. But when he says one of those 2 players, it's obviously Trent Richardson or Claiborne. And I think when you look at it, and I know that 4 months ago, I think all of us agreed Trent Richardson's a really good player. But is that too early to take him at 4? But I think when you look at it, and I did this thing over the weekend on the radio, and it's been funny. I've asked everyone, who's your favorite current Cleveland athlete? And this is a Browns town, right?
Right.
The fans can't pick a guy. It's time for the Browns to get an identity. Trent Richardson would be the closest thing to an identity. He would fit the AFC North. If you think about the other running backs, the Ray Rices, the Minden Halls, how Cincinnati plays, if we were in another division, I would say it would be another player, Mike. But I think in the AFC North, they see it as you get Trent Richardson, and instantly it makes your offense 10 times better than what it was a year ago.
Now, Tom Heckert said that they had 18 guys rated as first-round picks. We know they picked at 22. What do you think the chances are that they maybe try to package a second or a first in a following year to move up and get, 2 maybe offensive guys?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I thought that was interesting, too, that he goes, there's 18 first-round guys that we have, and we feel like we're going to get 2 of them. And he said that without any hesitation, Mike. It was like, we're getting 2 of those guys. So either they're going to trade up, or they see it as, because of the guys like Ryan Tannehill, a name that kind of became popular over the last month or so, I think they look at certain guys are going to go a little higher than they should. I think maybe a couple of the linemen may go a little earlier. I think they will stick unless a guy like Michael Floyd starts falling back. I think they like Michael Floyd. They're a little afraid of some of the off-the-field issues that he had prior to his senior season. But when you put up numbers like he put up at Notre Dame, and I think we've all watched Notre Dame football, and they've kind of looked for an identity offensively. This kid has put up numbers no one has ever put up at Notre Dame. I think he's the type of guy they would move for. Or if a Khalil, who could fall, if you look at that top of the draft now, let's say Khalil falls till 9 or 10, and that starts putting the second tackle a little further back. I think those are the 2 guys to watch. But honestly, I think they will be okay with sitting at 22 and getting a player that they want because of the Jonathan Martins, the offensive linemen like that. I think that they're going to see a Kendall Wright or a receiver, or the kid from Georgia Tech, the speedster Hill, and I think they'll sit there at 22. I think the 37th pick is going to be the interesting one, though.
Yeah, and that's where I was going to go next. And it's interesting also, another thing he said, if you think we're going to draft 3 offensive players in our first 3 picks, you're crazy, which made me think. But you just said a lot of things can happen. But everybody's talked so much about Tannehill. Yeah. What about Brandon Weeden? What if he's a guy that falls into the second round and he's sitting there at 37?
You're reading my mind. I think Brandon Weeden right now, if they can get him at 37, they definitely take him at 37. I think he looks like a guy that can come in. They don't look at the age. I think the one thing Tom Heckert said the other day, and he goes, depends if you think he's a starter, but I'm not going to tell you. And I'm thinking right there, I go, he's basically saying, we like him. We're just not going to tell you how much we like him. I think Weeden is a guy they will definitely look at right in that area. But also remember cornerbacks. He said in that press conference, he said, look, you need 3 quality corners. If they don't get Claiborne, there's a kid named Boykin out of Georgia that's a really good player, a little undersized that they may like. And also, if you start looking at it, Janoris Jenkins is a kid that was at Florida, and I have been told by people that were in Florida, he was as good as Joe Hayden when he was there. The only problem was his off-field issues. He's a first-round talent that may falls to the beginning of the second or third round. They have 5 picks in the top 100. This is a huge draft for the Cleveland Browns.
Nobody does it better than him. Partner, always good to see you.
Always good, man.
Thanks for stopping by. Andre Knott.